Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I am going to get started here. My name is Krishna Vedula, and in just a minute, we'll get going. Okay, so this is a very, very exciting opportunity for me to introduce this, to be the host for this webinar series. My name is Krishna Vedula, and I am at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. I'm also the Executive Director of the Indo-Universal Collaboration in Education, a past president for the International Federation of Engineering Education Societies. See a picture of me in the corner there, and the what we're going to do today is begin this webinar series in collaboration with the Jack Wilson Center for Entrepreneurship, and there are several things that we will do over the next several months. This is the first one. As I mentioned in the details of this, I don't have to read right now, but I just wanted to put that up there. It's about entrepreneurship, innovation, education. Recordings, by the way, will be available for those of you who want to access it. We will let you know how to access them. We have today, the first webinar is on global entrepreneurship exchange, expanding youth minds to solve small and big problems. The presenters will be Dr. Yi Yang, Dr. Professor Ashwin Mehta, and Dr. Michael Chayukta from UMass Lowell. So just in terms of the logistics, all of you are seeing a control panel to the right on your screen, and so you know, many of you are familiar with it and know how to send text messages. So please do that. Whenever you have something on your mind that you want to put across to us. I will be watching the text messages as they come through, and occasionally we will stop the speakers, and we will maybe after 15-20 minutes after the initial presentation, we will see if anybody has any comments or questions. So please do not hesitate to do that. So here we go. I'm going to make Professor Ashwin Mehta as the presenter, and he and his and the colleagues will get going in just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashwin, just click show my screen. Yeah, let's click show my screen, and I can show your face. I can show my face too. So let us all show our faces. Maybe it's just as a initial. Now, Michael, can you turn on your webcam and Yi? Yeah, there we go. This is our team. So, oh boy, this is at 6 a.m. Yeah, very nice, cheerful faces, all of us. 6 a.m. and a cold morning here in Boston.
We've been up all night.
You've been up all night and all nervous whether you're going to wake up in the morning or not. Okay. All right, there you go, Ashwin. So I'm going to turn off my my video, so you can just focus on the presentation. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Go to yeah. There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you, Krishna, and thank you all for joining this first webinar on entrepreneurship education. I'm Ashwin Mehta, and I will be moderating these presentation as well as making presentation at the end. I would like to introduce Dr. Yang, Department Chair for the Marketing, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. So, Dr. Yang, would you like to make a few comments?
First of all, a big thanks to Professor Krishna to help us to organize this series of webinars in entrepreneurship, and thanks everybody to join us. And hopefully, we can have a great webinar series and exchange ideas about how to make the entrepreneurship education more effective and innovative for the students as well as other people who are interested in this area. And I joined the University of Massachusetts Lowell in 2006, and currently I'm the chair as a Professor Matt just mentioned, and I really enjoy teaching entrepreneurship and doing research in this area as well. So I am very grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Michael?
Good afternoon. Thanks again for everyone for participating in this and hopefully a very valuable experience. So briefly about me, I received my PhD from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I've joined UMass Lowell since 2010. I primarily research technology transfer and entrepreneurial finance, and prior to my career in academia, I had a successful career in corporate commercial banking. So I'm looking forward to participating.
Thank you, and I am Ashwin Mehta. I'm an associate teaching professor at UMass Lowell, the Entrepreneurship Department, and I have had a number of careers, including working for a large multinational corporation, and I had my own businesses, and then I joined UMass Lowell in 2005, teaching full-time entrepreneurship and management courses. So with that, we will begin the webinar. The agenda is to first have the context about the entrepreneurship and education, and then talk about what is our entrepreneurship education overview, that is our UMass Lowell view, and then we'll talk about the specific program about the entrepreneurship education that we have started called the Global Entrepreneurship Exchange. So with that, we'll turn it over to Professor Schuster. Michael?
Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about entrepreneurship and primarily entrepreneurship education and how it fits within the larger context of entrepreneurship activity, and somewhat focused on U.S. activities. But one of the most interesting things about entrepreneurship is we all know it does not take place in any one location. Even if you are in one location, it does not take place within one individual. And that's what this slide really highlights. We emphasize, certainly among students, but also anyone really engaged in entrepreneurship, that it is not an individual activity. It is really a team sport. So it takes an individual or team of individuals who have creative mindsets, who have entrepreneurial mindsets, who have perseverance and are willing to take on some challenges and some risks and overcome some hurdles, many, many hurdles. And they may have come up with some particular innovation or invention. They pursue an opportunity, but they can't do it alone. They're not, again, operating in isolation. They're working within an environment. And so the environment both constrains and provides the resources necessary for them to pursue that opportunity. And so much of what we do when we teach entrepreneurship education is for students to recognize how they need to manage working in the environment, use the resources that are available, but then also be prepared to overcome certain constraints that they may need to work in their advantage. And so that's probably just a broad overview of how we emphasize entrepreneurship in a particular context. It's about pursuing opportunities in the pursuit of the goal of which is obviously at some point to create value. So we can go on to the next one. And one thing that is important to recognize in entrepreneurship education, or entrepreneurship more broadly also, is that it's not a, as I mentioned, it's not only a one-person activity, it's a team sport, but there's also not really just one type of entrepreneurship. So, and many students are going to have different aspirations, motivations, objectives, and even if they all decide at some point they want to start their business, they may be motivated by different things. So it's important to provide the skill set, the training that is relevant for many of these goals. So for instance, certain entrepreneurs may just decide to pursue a lifestyle type business where they don't have very high growth aspirations. They like to be their own boss, but they really have something that they want to offset their personal, they don't want to go earn a wage or a salary. They want to pursue something that is something they're passionate about, but they really have no idea to grow it or make it a scalable type of business. On the other hand, you may have people who are motivated by that, and these are the ones that we tend to read about and that you hear about, read about. The success stories, the companies that sell out to, the major .com companies such as the Apples that buy out to Apples and Yahoo and Google. So these are your WhatsApp to the world and your Facebooks eventually, start out something and then grow and scale. And so it requires a much different skill set than someone who just wants to, say, open up a little restaurant or a little retail business. right? So you need to prepare these students with a much different skill set, and so your education program really needs to be able to cater to that. And then similarly, there's corporate entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship, again, doesn't necessarily involve a startup of any type. It might be that someone goes to work within an existing company, a large engineering firm, a large manufacturing firm, but they still also should pursue an entrepreneur mindset. And there will be opportunities to create value within their organization. And again, they're going to have both resources, but they'll also be constrained by the resources that are set by the organization. So an entrepreneurship program should also be able to provide students who are working in this environment with that outlet and that training necessary. And finally, you get to social entrepreneurship, which is becoming more and more popular. So this now is where the emphasis is on creating social good for society. But it's also important to recognize, at least in the context that we generally tend to teach this, that we're not really still talking about charities or nonprofits. We're really still primarily talking about for-profit organizations, but they just may have more of a social impact and social mindset. But again, this will require yet another different set of skills and tool sets for those students to be successful if this is the endeavor or the path that they want to choose. So next slide, please. So this just highlights some characteristics. Kauffman is a foundation in the US here. They do both donation, charitable activities, but they have a very strong research agenda as well. And they spend a lot of time researching entrepreneurship activity, well, in the US and actually globally. And they come up with every year a series of metrics or indicators that they use to monitor entrepreneurship activity in the US. And this slide just gives you a few cursory overview of how entrepreneurship activity in the US is very strong. So there's in terms of the number of people who create venture. But what's also very illuminating about this is the second point here, which says that 85% of these choose this route because of opportunity. So the contrast would be they do it out of necessity. So some people will choose entrepreneurship, particularly if you're going maybe more to the lifestyle route, then because of necessity. You really have no viable career opportunities or objectives, mostly opportunity. But we do see that many people here in the US at least are doing this because they're actually they want to pursue an opportunity rather than pursuing it out of necessity. And we do see that, somewhat surprisingly, that there is this notion out there that entrepreneurial ventures often fail. And in fact, many of them do, and many of them don't last much beyond 5 years. But at least initially, there is a very high survival rate, almost about 80%. And so that's what this highlights. And then what we're seeing here in the US particularly is that the sort of baseline level of entrepreneurship stays fairly regular or very consistent in terms of rate of new entry of entrepreneurs into the economy. But we do see that the mix of these is somewhat changing. So that's what these bottom two graphs indicate. So whereas the entry rate about whites is staying pretty consistent, what we do see is that we are seeing more and more participation by minorities, particularly the Black and Latino communities in the US. And similarly, we are seeing more women enter the entrepreneurial pursuit than we have seen in the past, which is encouraging. In part, that's being spurred by some new sources of funding, such as crowdfunding. So we're seeing more activity there. So, and I think what this doesn't highlight is what we really are seeing an uptick in the U.S. is the pursuit of entrepreneurial activities by the immigrant population, which is very helpful to the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the U.S. Next slide, please. And so, what those stats that I just showed on the previous screen indicate is that yes, you can be successful as an entrepreneur, but there are certain skills and abilities and mindsets that are associated with more successful entrepreneurs than others, depending on whatever path you choose to take. And that's where entrepreneurship education comes in. So we want to emphasize that being an entrepreneur is something that you can learn. It's not something you're necessarily born with. There are certain innate attributes an individual might have, such as the tolerance for risk or need for achievement even, or persistence, or things like that, that may facilitate a successful entrepreneurial career, but certainly they aren't necessary. And certainly education can play a role in helping future entrepreneurs be more successful. And so this, again, going back to Kauffman, shows some statistics that show what kind of educational background entrepreneurs typically have. And you see it's very common that entrepreneurs actually do have college degrees. And that, more importantly, you can see, such as these quotes down below, which emphasize that the entrepreneurial education that they receive does help them actually become more successful entrepreneurs. So in part, again, what that's going to do, I think, in terms of the education that they receive, is instill in them a sense of confidence, but also more importantly, just open up their minds to having an entrepreneurial mindset and knowing what the challenges are ahead of them, but then giving them the tools and skills and abilities to be able to face and overcome those challenges that they're undoubtedly going to face. And so one more slide, please. And so what this highlights is what I mentioned sort of at the very outset, which is that depending on the particular type of entrepreneurial venture the person wants to pursue or team of people want to pursue, then the nature of the education that they receive might be somewhat different. So this is where I'm saying you need to maybe tailor your entrepreneurial program to go after these particular types of entrepreneurial ventures. So for instance, and I won't go into this in great detail, but for instance, if someone's just pursuing a small lifestyle type business, so again, maybe a small retail business, maybe a small consulting business, or even, maybe a little bit, it could even be a technology business, but they don't necessarily have very high growth aspirations. They're going to need some basic business education. They should understand some basics of business finance. If they're a sole proprietor, or maybe they work with a very small team, they're not going to be able to hire out a bunch of additional professional staff. So it's very important that they have these basic understandings. Whereas if you get to the larger types of businesses, or if you do have a high growth aspiration, which we get with the startup category, then these various tools such as business model, lean launchpad design thinking become much more important, because here now it's going to be very crucial that these students test out the various business models, and they need to know how to do that, especially if they're going to eventually try and raise venture capital or some other external funding. Then those funders are going to have very specific expectations, and they know what they're looking for, and it's important for the entrepreneur to know what these people are looking for. And one of those things is the ability to test your business model and validate it through customer validation, to demonstrate that you've got traction and those types of things, which wouldn't at all be relevant necessarily for someone pursuing a lifestyle business. And similarly, when you move into the corporate world, then you're working within a different environment where you're now working part of a large organization who typically will have certain strategic guidelines already set in place, and that's where things like SWOT analysis, strategic management come more into play, because these are more tools that are used in the strategy functions within large organizations. And then the last thing would be on social entrepreneurship. Here we're going to really emphasize, well, actually I should mention throughout, we do emphasize the interdisciplinary nature of entrepreneurship. So as the objectives of the venture increase, that's more and more likely that these interdisciplinary viewpoints and skill sets are going to be increasingly valuable. And certainly that's the case within social entrepreneurship, where we see at UMass Lowell, for instance, we have a competition, and many of these students are pursuing a social entrepreneurship venture. And we find that some of the most successful teams are ones that can reach across the various colleges within campus, so we have business students working with engineering students, working with students in health sciences. And so, for instance, you might have someone, a physical therapist, for instance, who's come up with a new device to help someone with mobility problems, and they understand the physical aspects of what their device is, but they lack the business acumen. And so that's where it's really important to stress that although there may be a social objective with this venture, ultimately, if it's going to be a successful business, then it probably does make sense to bring on some people with business skills as well. So that's, again, it's just a very brief overview of entrepreneurship education, broadly speaking, in the context, largely, again, emphasizing in the U.S., but recognizing that it's part of an environment in which resources are both available and constrained, and the entrepreneurial venture will be part of that environment, so it's important to know how to navigate within it. So with that, I'll turn it back to Ashwin and can move us along the agenda.
Thank you, Michael. Next is Dr. Yang Yi.
Yeah, let me interrupt there for just a second. I would just want to remind the participants that they can use the questions chat feature to send any comments at any time, any questions that they have. So please do that, because we will be reading them out at some point. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Professor Yi.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Krishna, and also Professor Mehta. And before I move to our view on the entrepreneurship education, Ashwin, could you move to the next slide? Okay, thank you. And I just want to give the audience a brief overview of our university and our School of Business. The UMass Lowell is a national public research university, and we are part of the UMass system. And actually, we are the second largest public institution in the state of Massachusetts. And currently, our university offers 122 bachelor's degree, 43 master's degree, and 36 doctor degree programs, and with over 1,000 faculty members and 18,000 students, and all business is one of the 6 colleges. And currently, our business school offers 8 undergraduate concentrations. And among all these concentrations, and of course, we offer traditional concentrations like finance, accounting, management, etc. But we also offered relatively new concentrations like entrepreneurship and business analytics. At the graduate level, we also offered a variety of choices for our graduate students, including MBA and also the MS programs in accounting, entrepreneurship, finance, and business analytics. In 2013, we launched our PhD program. So far, the PhD program actually is very successful with the 7 concentrations, and entrepreneurship is one of them as well. And all of the programs are AACSB accredited. So we offered a very strong quality academic programs, and entrepreneurship is one of them, and has been one of the core areas our school and the university try to focus on. And you know, we have a complete set of academic programs in entrepreneurship, you know, from undergraduates to graduate and finally to PhD program, which is not very, you know, it's not very common, even in the United States. You offered a very complete education in entrepreneurship. And in addition to that, we also offer a variety of co-curriculum activities, and I will share with you more details in later slides. Ashley, could you please move on to the next slide? And as I mentioned, you know, we do have a you know, very strong academic program, but in addition to that, you know, you know, academic program is not just, you know, we only provide the academic program. To support the academic program, we try to offer students with a lot of variety of curriculum activities, including like student business contacts, incubator, accelerators, seed money, etc. So in general, we view entrepreneurship education as an approach to help students develop a growth mindset that is open to changes and innovation, and rather than just, you know, prepare them for future career. You know, career is important, but the mindset change is more important. It will influence their the whole life. We believe entrepreneurship education is not just about how to start or own or run a business, and it should go beyond that. So we want to prepare our students for a lifelong entrepreneurial journey that could start with the new ventures, or actually within existing companies, or, you know, start their journey within the non-for-profit organizations, and or, you know, do all of them. So this is a lifelong journey for our students, and to provide this kind of experience and, you know, educational experience for our students, we try to emphasize, you know, 5 aspects as laid out on the slide. First of all, we want to emphasize on the problem solving. You know, when you start a business or you work for an organization, and we try to find problems around us, you know, in our life. And we always encourage students to identify real problems, and then try to find the solutions creatively, and think about how to solve those problems by integrating their knowledges, skills, or resources available to them. And if you look at our curriculum and the course content, you will find out, you know, almost all the courses require a term project, which is take very integrative approaches. In addition to that, we also encourage students to have interdisciplinary collaborations with the students from other colleges, even from other universities. And from the faculty perspective, we make efforts to offer joint classes. For example, at the 4,000 level, this is a high level entrepreneurship courses. We try to offer the capstone experience for students, and in doing that, we collaborate with the engineering college. We offered the course to give our students work with the engineering student on their inventions and to help disabled people, and that has been running for several years, and it's very successful for both colleges. We also open our courses to the students from other colleges. Several years ago, we removed many prereqs for the entrepreneurship courses, so the students from the health science college, from engineering, from science college, and from the social science college can join our classroom and work with the business students together and on their business ideas and solving real problems. In our classroom and also outside of our classroom, we always encourage students in the experiential exercise. And we try to find the real project for the students. Sometimes students come with their own idea. We encourage that as well. They work together, and always the students, not all of them, but many of them will carry on their ideas from the classroom to their real life and launch their business. Sometimes after they graduated from the program. And we also bring the real project from like university technology transfer office to the classroom or from the local business communities, and try to give the students the experiential learning and opportunities, and not for themselves. Those real projects give them the opportunity to apply what they learn in classroom to real case, but also actually provide opportunities for them to serve our community. The students always encouraged to engage to many other class exercise as well, in addition to the real project. For example, we introduced like simulation in the 3,000 level course. It's like a small simulation, but still it's a quite innovative teaching methods in the entrepreneurship setting. And also we have a case discussion, role play, interviews, surveys, etc. And all these opportunities for students to be interactive and engaging, and I think has provided a very rich educational environment for our students in entrepreneurship area. And finally, I want to emphasize we take a holistic view on entrepreneurship education. So in general, we aim at developing entrepreneurship ecosystem around the campus to support our entrepreneurship education. And Ashwin, could you please move to the next slide so I can show the audience?
Can I interrupt for just another second?
Sure.
We have about 3 or 4 Chinese participants, and one of them is saying, "Can you make a few comments in Chinese or something?" Do you know Chinese?
Yeah, I do know Chinese.
Can you just address a little bit, whatever you want to? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. That is something.
That's, just so they don't feel ignored. Just a couple of minutes. That's 1 or 2 minutes. That's all. Just a few comments.
Oh, okay. 我刚才简单的介绍一下。Now I'm just using Chinese for a couple of minutes and just repeat what I said in the previous 2 slides. I just want to introduce our universities briefly to the Chinese audience. 刚才呢，我简单介绍一下我们的学校啊，我们的学校呢是 UMass 整个就是麻省公立系统里面的第2大这个校园。我们呢这个创业创新的教育呢已经持续了很多年。我们这个创业创新呢有整个从这个本科到研究生到博士，我们都有整个非常完整的一个教育体系。同时呢这个创新呢，我们认为呢不光是在课堂里面，所以整个校园包括整个社区，我们都 把它引入到我们的教育体系当中。所以现在呢，我再介绍一下我们主要的这个教育理念。第一个呢，我们就是就是学生呢是我们希望他们能够把他们所有的这个知识体系呢能够贯穿起来，然后应用到这个创业创新的这个实践当中去。同时呢，我们也非常鼓励学生呢从事各种跨学科交叉学科之间的合作。从我们的这个课程的安排，还有这个学生这个学习的内容，都是强调这个跨学科的这个交流。所以我们的学生有很多机会和工科的学生以及理科的学生，还有我们这个医科的学生呢，能够进行很多的交流。同时呢，我们也强调这个动手的能力，就是不是光是听老师讲这个。学习创业创新一定要动手，所以我们在课程当中有大量的这个实践的机会给学生啊，特别是他们可以在这个真正的这个为真正的这个商业机构呀，还有帮助学校的这个科研这个商业化呀，能够做出一些贡献。另外呢，我们也包括了很多的其他的就是不同的这个教学的这个方法，也在这个教学当中呢得到了实施，效果呢还是非常好的。最后呢，我想强调的就是这个创业创新那个教育的这个生态系统啊也是非常重要的。因为刚才我介绍了有各种各样的教学手段和教学的机会，如果没有这个创业的机会呢，就是这个生态系统呢是没办法实现的。Ashley, could you move to the next slide? Okay.
By the way, Yi, you're getting very good compliments. The Chinese participants are saying your Chinese is very good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now I switch back to English.
Yeah, just quick quick question for in general for any of you. Question is, can entrepreneurship be taught at the K through 12 level as well?
Can you say? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
In K through 12, high school, middle school, can you teach them at that stage? It's entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. In United States, a lot of high school are already incorporate entrepreneurship into their curriculum. And middle school, I'm not so sure, but I think the after school clubs probably expose the students to entrepreneurship or business in general. And a high school, I can tell you a junior achievement program, which is a nonprofit organization, has been running for many years. And one of their programs actually is offering the high school students the entrepreneurship experience. And so absolutely in the United States, entrepreneurship program has been incorporated into the K-12 system.
Thank you. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so the ecosystem, I just briefly introduce our ecosystem, and you can see we definitely need to go outside the classroom if we want to offer students a lot of experiential learning opportunities or engage them in all sorts of other activities to serve the community. And go outside the classroom means, we offer the idea contest on campus every semester in a different context, small one, a larger one. We try to have a different combination and meet different needs, from different colleges. And also we try to offer all kinds of resources to help them further develop their ideas. Once they have ideas, they can pitch their idea, but from idea to a real business, there is a long way to go. And, from an idea to bring the real impacts on society, there is a long way to go. So we try to offer resources to help them develop the prototype and give them money, like seed money, and provide incubator, the space for them to further develop their ideas. We also try to connect our students to broader communities, such as a service provider community, mentoring network, alumni networks, investor communities, etc. So I think those networks are very important for them to help them move their venturing journeys to the next level. So let me switch to Chinese a little bit. OK， 就是这张图呢显示就是向大家展示一下我们现在这个生态系统包括了其实有三个层次。第一个是在中心的这个课程安排，同时呢我们呢在课程当中呢就是鼓励学生有自己的 idea， 同时服务社区，但是他们可以把 idea 呢去参加这个创业的比赛。我们校园里提供了很多的创业比赛，大的小的各种各样的。然后呢，我们有提供各种各样的资源，帮助他们把他们的 idea 呢能够更推进一步。比如说提供场地是 3D 这个打印机然后让他们进行科研还有提供这个就是钱还有资金上的支持然后同时呢把他们介绍他们到就是跟创业有关的很多的这个社团社区呢进行他们能够寻找到更多的资源帮助他们继续创业或者创新。Ashwin, could you please move to the next slide? Okay. So from the previous slides, you can see a lot of entrepreneurship initiatives are happening on our campus right now. And so now the center, the Jack Wilson Center, launched 2 years ago, come to serve as a platform to coordinate and integrate many of the entrepreneurship initiatives I just mentioned. Particularly the center and try to focus on entrepreneurship education and research. And next slide, you can find we offered a lot of initiatives specifically focused on those areas like entrepreneurship education and innovations in entrepreneurship education, research on entrepreneurship learning, and we also offer the trainers and conduct case studies on entrepreneurial companies and workshops for alumni and executives. And also we launched the entrepreneurship speaker series. And among many initiatives, Global Entrepreneurship Exchange is our signature program. And Ashwin, Professor Mehta will give you more details in the rest of the slides.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, and thank you again all for joining us. So let me give you a little bit about our Global Entrepreneurship Exchange program. As Dr. Yang pointed out, it's a signature program for the university, and we are very excited to tell you more about it. We launched this.
Ashwin, can I interrupt you for a second? Do
Sure.
you want me to translate a little bit? If you want, you can pause. Then I can maybe briefly translate it. Or
yeah. This slide maybe you after go through, you can give a little translation there. That would be great.
Why don't you go through all the slides and then you can summarize? That may be
Okay.
Otherwise, we run out of time. We'll run out of time otherwise because several people have questions as well. So we should save a little time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we launched this as a pilot in 2014 when we took 9 students from from UMass Lowell to India, Hubli, where our partner, KLE Technological University, we had a first pilot program. And since then, we have expanded that to India, China, and in the US, where we have 2-week intensive class or workshop. It's a total immersion, multicultural, multidisciplinary, experiential learning. We have students, faculty from undergrad to grad to doctoral level, from all different disciplines, business, engineering, science, etc. So what has become this small pilot has now truly become a global partnership with so many institutions around the globe. And this webinar itself is an example of this global exchange program that we started in 2014. To date, as of August of last year, we had 16 institutions, 17 nationalities, and 15 sessions that we conducted in India, US, and in China, and over 820 students have participated. We just completed a 2-week session in Hubli, India, and where we had 60 additional students who participated. So we now have 880 students, faculty who have gone through this two-week of intensive program there. And we measure their comprehension of the material and activities and so forth through surveys and feedback and so forth. And you can see here that how they have grasped the knowledge of some essentials that Professor Schuster and Dr. Yang pointed out. Some of these tools, such as the Lean Launchpad or business model, understanding multidisciplinary and multicultural aspect, there's a tremendous increase in their awareness and knowledge compared to what they started out in the beginning of the workshop. So we find that the two-week intensive total immersion program helps them to better understand the need to communicate across disciplinary and cross-functional or cross-cultural teams. This is a real-life situation, because whether they start their business or work for a larger organization, invariably they will be encountering to work with different disciplines as well as the cross boundaries. They become more comfortable working in a multidisciplinary environment. This is their feedback. They are very shy in the beginning, but after 2 weeks, it's amazing transformation that takes place with them. Some of the other comments that they've given me: basic tools and skills to consider becoming an entrepreneur. And many of these 880 students who have gone through the program, they have given this feedback saying that now they feel more comfortable, they're more confident, and they are prepared to either start a venture or become an entrepreneur within an organization. And they understand the process much better, and this is a process, and we try to emphasize that this is not something that you have an idea and overnight you're going to make an enterprise. You have to go step by step, and there are a lot of up and down during that process, and they get a better understanding after this 2-week program. And also, more importantly, they have a better appreciation of different cultures. So when you have 17 some countries involved in the program, you can imagine how exciting and interesting it is going to be. These 2-week program that we have, it's consisting of a lot of different things. They learn in the classroom, work in a multicultural, multidisciplinary team. They go and take tours of companies such as the one that you see in the slide, like iRobot in the US. And when we go to India or China, same thing. They go and visit some of the technology company as well as the social organizations. And on firsthand, they get the knowledge about what's happening in those type of organizations. They experience culture. This is a picture of a student who was in India and with a snake charmer. And they have fun. It's not just a 2-week of intensive class work, but also have some fun, get to know each other, form the friendship, and make a long-term network of the different people around the globe there. In March of 2018, we were recognized by International Institute of International Education, IIE. They awarded us a High School Study Abroad Best Practice Award. So we are very proud of the fact that we've been recognized by an international organization. We have some sessions coming up soon. In June, we will take students from US to Nanjing, China. This will be our 3rd session in China, and also the students from India, from a KLE Technological Institution, Hubli, India, will join in that program as well. Then we have sessions in Lowell in July 8th through July 19th, where we expect over 100 students and faculty from 12 to 13 countries participating in this July session. In addition to our 2-week program, this year we have started some special topics workshops. These are 4-day sessions. One of them is strategy and leadership in a global context. Well, we will give some more complementary education and knowledge about the how to form an enterprise, how to sustain, manage, grow the enterprise in a global context. What are the different global factors that need to be considered by an entrepreneur? And the second special topic is going to be talking about the emerging technologies and how you can create the new business opportunities, the technologies such as AI, the machine learning to blockchain and so forth. So this is our summer 2019, and we continue to grow this program with many more workshops and webinars like this one. So going forward, our intent is to have monthly webinar. Some of the topics that we have listed here will be presented over the coming months. The next webinar will be dealing with the teaching entrepreneurship in the context of creating curiosity and questioning how we do that in the U.S. We'll have a very interesting discussion on that one. Then we'll have 3 case studies, talk about in more depth our entrepreneurship ecosystem, the student idea contest that we discussed earlier is a part of the ecosystem, as well as to talk about the incubator and accelerator. After that, we will start launching some specific topics such as technological entrepreneurship, design thinking, and so forth. But these seminars are for you. So if you have any specific topics that are of interest to you, we will very much appreciate your suggestions. Let us know what topics that you would like to have included in our webinars. You can contact me. My email is here, or you can go to our website and get more information. We are also in the social media, so we want to create the awareness and expand this global entrepreneurship exchange. It truly has become a global, and this webinar is an example that yes, it is a global by having the both the English and the Chinese. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Yang to briefly go over in Chinese.
And then we'll have a few minutes for questions after that. Go ahead, Dr. Yang. Yeah.
I will take it briefly. 因为时间有限，所以呢，我只能非常简要的介绍一下刚才那个 Professor Mehta 教授刚刚介绍的这个 GE2 项目。这个GE2 呢，就是 Global Entrepreneurship Exchange。中文翻译呢，大概就是全球创业营这个活动，我们已经开展了大概5年。这个项目呢，实际上完美的就展示了我们的这个创业创新教育的理念。在过去的5年里呢，我们这个项目已经接待了学生来自于16个教育机构的学生，也分别来自于17个国家。今年夏天过后呢，我们就应该就是完成大概有1000个学生的这个教育这个经验。在过去的这5年里呢，我们确实感觉到这个项目呢对学生有很大的帮助。主要呢，第一个就是他们在非常简短的2个星期之内，非常密集的这个教育，这个创业创新教育呢，让他们对这个创新创业呢有了一个比较系统和完整的这个学习，同时呢也能够应用到这个实践当中去。每一个这个Global Exchange 呢这个 session 都会有这个比较都会有实践的机会，同时呢，也让学生呢对多元的这个文化呢有一个认识，互相学习，就是在全球的这个背景下的创业创新呢和单一国家的创业创新呢实际上是有所不一样的，因为文化的差别、社会的差别，所以学生在这方面有很多的感悟。同时呢，你从那个 slides 里这个 这个课件里面你也能看到，这个学生也得到了很多非常有意思的这个经历，因为不同的这个社会背景和文化。这个今年夏天呢，我们会把学生呢再次带到中国去，这是我们第3次把学生带到中国进行交流。和我们合作的是南京邮电大学。然后呢，在每年呢，我们在这个我们本身的本部呢，美国的这个校区呢会提供2次，提供2个 session。今年呢，我们会在7月份进行这个本部的这个创业营的活动。然后今年我们还增加了一个新的这个新的内容，就是我们就是特别的一些这些内容 topic 呢，我们认为学生也会非常感兴趣的，比如说战略管理呀，比如说最新的这个科技的发展啊，对于这个创业创新的一些影响呀，这些内容。最后呢，这个Professor Mehta 呢，就是 Mehta 教授呢，还介绍了一下以后的这个 webinar 的一些内容。您可以看看这个 slides。如果感兴趣的话，可以加入我们。因为时间有限，所以呢，我就先把翻译到此为止。如果你有什么问题的话呢，请写 email 给这个 Mehta 教授，或者是写 email 给我也可以。您可以search 我的这个名字一阳 UML， 然后可以发email 给我，如果你有具体的问题的话。Okay, now I give back to.
Thank you.
So I will moderate the question answers, and either any one of you can answer, depending on what you want to do. Ashwin can start, and if you can pass it on to others if the answer is appropriate for somebody else. There are quite a few questions, so we won't get to cover all of them. I'll probably document all the questions and send it out to you folks so that we can send it to them later on. Immediate question which I can answer is can we permit students to attend these webinars? Absolutely, yes. We want students to attend these, and we can accommodate up to 500 participants. So today we have about 72 participants, and please, and if you have to project this in a classroom and with students in a classroom, do that. Project the webinar in a classroom and let them learn. This is exactly what you want to do. Okay, so that's my answer to that question. There were some logistics questions about the fees and for these programs at China and other places, and fees for courses in UMass Lowell, which we can probably address later on. So let me just then go to the other questions, and let's see what else. What are some of the key questions that are coming up in this thing? Do universities, colleges in USA offer internship programs for students in entrepreneurship? Anybody want to do that?
You want to do that, or?
Oh yeah, I can do that. Yes, we do. We do offer internship opportunities on campus. Actually, not only entrepreneurship. Internship, it could be a course for the senior students. And we our campus, we also offer co-op experience. So the university had a contact with hundreds of companies in local communities, and they offer the internship opportunity, and the university will link them to introduce our students to those companies, and the internship experience will show on a transcript. So when they go to work, they can show that. Yeah.
Do you have distance courses? Do you have distance courses in entrepreneurship?
Yes, we do have online courses too at the master's level.
Okay.
Undergraduate and graduate level both. We have online courses.
Okay. How to connect investor communities for further accelerating prototype to startup? Any comments? How to connect investor communities? You probably do that already, but go ahead. Any suggestions?
So at UMass Lowell, we have 2 ways. One is that we have within the university a investment fund. It's called the UMass Lowell Riverhawk Fund, where there's some seed money that can be provided to the startup companies, but also through the network of incubator and the other ecosystem component, we have a connection with the larger investment community, and there are periodic sessions that are held with this investment community, so the startup companies can be exposed to those. We also have a special incubator for the medical device, where both the VCs as well as the biotech medical device companies are partner in that incubator. So through those mechanisms, companies can access the investment community.
Okay, one of our faculty members is in academic programs, they have some of these prototype buildings. So this question is, how would you evaluate prototypes when, in an academic program? It's a very broad question, but I'm sure you may be covering it later on. Just wanted to mention that.
Well, I think it's one of those examples when you have the prototype, you build something and you now want to go to find the application or a market for that. This is where the value of the entrepreneurship education comes in, where as well as the such thing as what we call a difference maker, the idea contest, where they go through the step-by-step process of how you identify the potential customers, markets, and how would you reach those through the various channels, etc. So the kind of things such as business model generations and lean launchpad, etc., those tools can be utilized effectively to take the prototype into the next level.
Yes, this is, in general, this is something that you'll find, particularly in India, is that faculty need help trying to figure out how to do these things. So how to deal with, how to advise them, how to guide them, and so on. Yeah, go ahead, Ji. Yeah.
Yeah, can I add a few comments here? Sure. Yeah, how to evaluate the prototyping? It's not easy. Well, in my opinion, you may not be able to do completely within the academic program, because academic program is a very short period, like 1 semester, a course, and a lot of students, we encourage them actually take their idea moving forward even after taking the course or graduate from the program. So that's why we emphasize the ecosystem. You have to offer a lot of opportunities outside the classrooms. For example, the student can take the idea to the contest. And during when they participate in the contest, they get additional support from the campus and further develop the prototype. And in the contest itself, the result of contest is a kind of a judgment on their prototyping. And even after contest on our campus, we offer the boost camp, from the difference maker program. You will learn more in the future webinars about those opportunities on our campus to help students move their idea further into a real business.
Next question is an interesting question. Do you think entrepreneurship lecturers should experience themselves entrepreneurship before or while teaching the subject?
Absolutely, and I'm an example of that. I had two on my own startup companies, and I gained a lot of practice and understanding, and I can relate the academic with the actual experience. And we have many practitioners in that.
So that means the network has to be built with entrepreneurs in the region so that you can kind of tap them into coming and helping out, because all faculty members may not have that kind of experience.
It's a complementary, yes.
Okay. Let's see, other questions. Many other questions are here. How do you get admission to the master's level, UMass Lowell? We can send that information later on. In India, we are doing a program on this vaccine to K through 12. We talked about that. The fee for that program in China in June. I think we can send information on that separately, right?
Yes.
And then what is the criteria for selecting the students for the 2-week intensive program? Will there be scholarships for any students and so on? So maybe quickly might address this program, because there's a couple of questions in that area.
Yeah, so I'll be more than happy to send the more information, but briefly, the 2-week program, we will take students from any discipline at any level, undergrad, grad, or doctoral. We also have some faculty attend this program. So as far as the attendance, it's open to any higher education institution. As far as the fees and so forth, I can send some specific information because we have several different things there. As far as the scholarships or any financial, what we have seen is that the host, their own institutions is in some respect may support students with some scholarship or some funding there, but we do not have any scholarship available from our program here.
Professor Ranji Vaidyanathan from Oklahoma is saying the VentureWell Global Entrepreneurship E-Team programs could be a way for international teams to obtain seed funding. Just a comment, he's one of our IUC members.
Yeah.
And then in general, I want to add a comment on behalf of IUCE that if there are institutions that IUC is working with all over India, interested in taking this forward, it doesn't have to be limited to Kali Tech University. We can organize these kinds of 2-week programs in different parts of India if some institution within India is willing to take the initiative to host or to help organize these things. And obviously, there's costs associated with it, and all of those details can be discussed at some point later on. Let's see, the recording, okay, final comment, because I want to close at this final comment, and I'll give you each a minute or so to wind up. The recordings will be, we will create a YouTube recording of this, and a link will be posted not just on the UMass Lowell and IUC website, but we can actually send you the link by email because we have all your email IDs. So, Ashwin, Ye, and Michael, would you like to wrap up for a few seconds each? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Krishna, for giving us this opportunity. On behalf of my colleagues, I truly appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to many more webinars like this one. Yi?
Yeah, me too. I thank you very much for this great opportunity. And I'm looking forward to work with many of you in this entrepreneur journey. For us, for all of us. You can find Ashwin's email. If you have any questions specifically related to the programs, and if you want to talk to me, you can also email me. My email address is yi_yang@uml.edu. Thank you very much.
Michael?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been very helpful, hopefully for you all to learn about what we do here at UMass Lowell, but also the importance of entrepreneurship, which hopefully many of you have an appreciation for in a global context.
Okay, thank you all, and that's the end. And look forward to seeing you in a few weeks when we have the next webinar, and we will keep you informed, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.